that leadership and the running of the government is not intellectually driven. It is driven by politics. And it is a shame. And no nation can actually get outside the level of its universities. No nation.
Let me come in here because you rightfully talked about politics. What, in your view, because you've been looking at how budgets have performed and how they have been crystallized and made over the past 20 years, what happens to budgets, especially at the preceding year, to politics?
The number thing that should happen really is that you bring records. Fiscal responsibility has says, bring the records of the previous year's budget and the performance ratio up to June of the previous year. You must bring it before the National Assembly to accompany the current budget that you are proposing. Up to June. In other words, if you were to consider the 2018 budget, you will bring the performance, profile of the budget up to June of at least 2016. So that it can guide legislators to see, to know, and to take informed decisions. This budget is not being accompanied by that. The fiscal strategy paper is not there. The MTF is not there. And then you are laying it before. On what basis? By what authority, therefore? By what statistical authority? By what information will the National Assembly now work on this budget and pass it such a way that it will be well thought out?
This is not a budget that is dead on arrival, is it?
I think, first of all, the budget is titled budget of consolidation. I think that's very wrong. It's the wrong nomenclature. It should actually be titled budget of relief. We are actually be getting out of recession. It's a relief. What are you consolidating? Consolidating on what? What achievement have you made? So this is a budget that we should need to thoroughly disaggregate and then aggregate after getting the correct information. I think the Senate of the Federal Republic will do justice to this budget.
What will you advise, or what will you subscribe to if you do support any budget for that matter? Because the budget is already before the House of Representatives, the National Assembly as a whole.
Yes.
They can't send it back. They'll have to work on it.
They've got to work, yes.
We have to move forward as a nation to try to see that the budget starts as quickly as possible from January 1.
This one is not possible.
This one is not possible. But what will it be for you if you have to look at, say, the grey areas in this budget as a way of addressing them as quickly as possible and giving timelines on when we should start this budget?
First, three things. Number one, do not lay any budget before the National Assembly any later than September of a year. That's number one. Number two, don't forget, December is a month of holidays. You have Christmas, you have Boxing Day, New Year Day. I mean, this is a harvest of holidays. So you are going to have not more than 15 days within December to look at it. And then National Assembly will not reconvene until the middle of the following month. In other words, by maybe January 15 or January 20th, they will just be resuming. And I tell you, it will still be holiday mood. I tell you, no serious work can be done on the budget in the whole of January. So I think the problem we have is that we are expecting results where we are not doing anything. So I would suggest, therefore, a situation in which, at least for 2019, that the preparation for the budget for 2019 should begin in March, so that we can lay it early enough by September of that year. And then so that, I mean, that's going to be, that is September of 2018. And then, of course, we must do something to the production ceiling of the barrel of oil for this year. I mean, for 2018, 2.2 million is over optimistic. 2.2 million barrels in a restive area.
Well, the way it is right now, the OPEC has cut our production to 1.8 million.
Gosh. I mean, that also has to actually prove my point that, I mean, you don't begin to count your chickens before they're hatched. That's the truth.
Mr. Gunyemi, the pictures you've painted now, one might say, okay, you know what, let's not just discuss the budget again. Let's just take it out of the National Assembly and go back to the drawing board. But let's look at the budget as it is. Gimba asked you, should we call it a budget of consolidation? You said no.
No, it's a budget of relief.
Let's look at the parameters.
After a period of crisis.
Do we have the right elements within that budget to even call it a budget of relief?
Oh, yes. I think the first thing, the good point in that budget is pegging the expectation of our revenue. Our revenue expectation is pegged at $45 per barrel. I think that's conservative. And it is always very good to always be conservative with your revenue expectations. After all, if you get more than what you are proposing, I mean, it will not go to waste. In fact, the Sovereign Wealth Fund Act actually means that what you get in excess of your projections, you report at the Sovereign Wealth Fund. So we have a fund that the excess upon our budget will report. That's beautiful. I think that's very good. But that's salutary. Because if we had pegged our budget, say, at $50, and something happened to the international finance capital or the circumstances, the variables at the international world market, and the price crashes, then the budget is endangered. I think that's salute to the Minister of Finance for that. However, we have a situation in which we are understating our revenue capacity and generation capacity in customs. I mean, how can customs say 600 billion that is proposing to generate 600 billion? I mean, I think that's an understatement. And under the Finance Control and Management Act of 1958, laws of the Federation of Nigeria, Cap F26, to understate your revenue is itself fraud. You are liable for understating your revenue because it's a way of defrauding the Federal Republic. So the customs, we should look into customs because you should be able to generate more than it's actually proposing.
So looking at the revenue streams now, we have oil and gas, sadly enough.
Yes, there are 4 revenue cash cows in Nigeria. NNPC, FIRS, National Communication Commission, and then customs. These are the 4 major revenue cash cows.
Because one is also thinking about the taxes, because the Minister for Finance has largely said that we will also depend on taxes to fund the budget.
Yes.
And she's looking at a very high figure.
Yes.